Good morning. My name is Jorge R, and I will be discussing the effects race and social class have on athletic college recruitment. Personal things such as bias and preference over these such aspects have been great determining factors in the sports industry for many athletes, those of which have experienced such instances firsthand. My research question is, to what extent has the race and social class of the athletes of America affected their overall rate of recruitment in college sports? Race and social classes can be demotivating factors in the recruitment of college athletes and can negatively impact their acceptance as a result. Common stereotypes can cause false and biased judgment in the recruitment process. And lower social classes can also affect the overall acceptance of opportunities in such sports and activities. As Serena Williams is an example of this. She says, if they think your dreams are crazy, show them what crazy dreams can do. College coaches will often choose a young black man rather than a young white man for college football. Similarly, the same thing happens for young black men and women in basketball. In soccer, Latinos are selected over other ethnicities that are more commonly accepted in soccer. And sports such as rowing and water polo, white men were shown to be more prevalent, and white women as well. For example, racial athletic stereotype confirmation in college football recruiting, a study by PubMed, the National Library of Medicine. The study result tested real-world racial stereotypes used in the context of college athletic recruiting. And as a result, coaches used the evidence presented to develop biased subjective evaluations of the players involved. Coaches also allocated greater overall resources to the black recruit rather than compared to the white recruit. Often enough, college athletes are exposed to unrealistic expectations. And that being said, simply because one sport is racially dominated, however, should not mean that other races would not exceed in these such sports. Right here is a graph showing the black cornerback percentages in football in the upcoming years, coming from 1990 to 2015. For example, the Journal of Blacks in Higher Education conducted a study that shows athletes make up less than 4% of black students at many universities, but more than 50% at specific sports. In athletic powerhouse schools such as Ohio State, Florida State, and the University of Southern Florida or Southern California, black men are more than 50 times as likely as white men to be on athletic scholarship. In the National Athletic Association's Division I schools, 1 of every 168 white men is in a scholarship football or basketball player. At the University of Utah, half of the black men are on a football or basketball scholarship. Currently, under NCAA rules, students cannot be paid, and the scholarship money colleges can offer is capped at the cost of attending schools. The 65 Power 5 universities generated $8.3 billion through athletics. Yet aside from scholarships, students work for free and are not able to make money off of their own branding. The media is exposing more and more of the scandalous cases of admissions and scholarship access opportunities in collegiate sports, and the disparity between the general admission rates to the school and the admission rates for being in a team that generates revenue for the school. It's been 2 years since Lori Luling, Felicity Huffman, and several college coaches and officials were indicated in the nationwide college admissions scandal on March 12, 2019. According to the court documents, the Full House album and her husband, Massimo Giannulli, allegedly agreed to pay bribes totaling $500,000 in exchange for having their 2 daughters designated as recruits to the USC crew team, despite the fact that they did not participate in crew, thereby facilitating their admissions to USC. There is significant evidence on racial and social bias and financial hardship, and as a result, student athletes sued the NCAA. How current college athletes are compensated is still being debated by the U.S. Supreme Court, and justices, both liberal and conservative, are sympathetic to the students. Thank you. Any questions?
I do have two questions for you. First up, how did your research question evolve as you moved through this entire process?
Originally, I wanted to do something more simple, but as I gathered more and more evidence, I ultimately resulted in something much more specific and something much more contradictory to, well, not contradictory, but more relevant in today's society.
All right, and what advice would you have for other researchers who consider this topic?
I considered going to more research and further explaining how this can be helping, this could help more solutions to help with these biases and scandals involved in these acts.